Hi, I'm Liz Windish, a certified financial planner for women with Aspen Wealth Management. And today's video is going to be for people who are considering making a job change in 2022. I'm here with Emily Frank, a career coach. Her firm is the Career Catalyst. Hi, Emily. Thanks for joining
Hi,
us
Liz.
today.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us just a little bit about how your firm works and how
Yeah,
you're able to help people that are interested in making a job change?
absolutely. So I've been in private practice for almost 4 years now. I come out of higher education, but I've been doing career counseling and coaching for about 15 years now. And the way my practice works is pretty straightforward. People who are in career change moments will reach out to me generally via email. We schedule an initial consultation that I try to make be an hour long so that we can really get a read of each other. And if it feels like a good fit, we move on. But we do a lot of work around exploration, values, what's important from a job, that kind of thing. I don't necessarily go into things like career assessments immediately, although they can be helpful depending on the person. So really what it is just a lot of conversation between two people, with me sort of seeing the patterns and sort of holding the information about jobs and then sharing it with my clients as they make things clear to me.
That sounds really helpful. I wish I would have had someone like you earlier in my career. So it's 2021, the year's almost over. Already,
Yes.
1 in 4 people have left their jobs this year. And the year's
Mhm.
already over, so that number may wind up being a little bit higher. Have you noticed this in the last couple of years? Have you seen an uptick in people looking for
Yeah,
change?
I definitely have. And I'm certainly seeing this great resignation that's been in the news a lot recently. So earlier in the pandemic, there was a lot of concern that people had that was just around physical safety. So a lot of my clients who were in a position to do so were looking for jobs where they could simply work from home, which wasn't always easy. But what I'm seeing a lot more of recently is people seeking work that fits their needs and values a lot more. They're kind of reassessing things in a way that I think is really healthy. So I'm definitely seeing a big career shift with people as they step more into roles that are in keeping with who they really see themselves as being and what they want out of their lives.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So if someone is thinking about making a change, what are some questions they should ask themselves before they take that step?
Yeah, I love it. The main thing that I really work to get my clients to start with is to start with their needs. I think it's really easy to go down the pathway of skills. But I think in something like this, we're really going to be thinking about what people need from a job. And then after the kind of deep dive into needs, which include things like what kind of money do you need to make ends meet and put into savings? What kind of hours work with your current state of responsibilities? What kind of people do you really need to have around you, even if it's in a virtual sense? After we figure that out, then we look a little bit into the more of the wants. Some of that, like benefits, can be kind of a, a, an item that straddles need and want. So a lot of folks have a pretty high need for benefits that include things like health insurance and that sort of thing. And then to add to that, we may have some wants around things like the amount of vacation that we get. I've always favored not kind of a combined PTO, but a very clear vacation package and a very clear sick leave package, just because I think that's of greater benefit to the employee. For one thing, your vacation will roll over. That's a benefit. And if something really bad does happen, if you get catastrophically ill, then it's so much cleaner just to have that come straight out of your sick pay, and then to have maybe a leave bank or something in the job to take care of the rest of it. So needs, wants. And then beyond that, we can really think about the tasks that people enjoy doing, the kinds of physical settings that they kind of seek from the job, excuse me, any possible growth trajectories, anything like that. So we really start with those needs. Then we look at the kind of the wants and the values and weave those all together in a way that hopefully winds up making the most sense for the job changer.
Okay. Well, that is all sounds awesome, but that can be really overwhelming to make a career change or even just a simple job change.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations for people that aren't quite there yet? Maybe just kind of want to ease into thinking about making a move?
Sure. With things being what they are right now, one of the things I really encourage people to do is to start with informational interviews. Now, that's not a term everyone is familiar with. People in my work are familiar with it, but it's pretty much what it sounds like. Find people with interesting job titles or people working at interesting organizations and reach out to them and ask for 15 or 20 minutes of their time. And then just kind of ask all of the questions that you're wondering, what's really kind of weighing on you. Things like how the person got to where they are, what a typical workday looks like for that person. What kinds of barriers are typical in a career like this? What changes they see coming in the near future, what changes they see in the distant future, all of that stuff. And then I usually encourage people who are very interested in a particular workplace also to ask some questions about the culture of the organization, because of course that can go a really long way towards satisfying or dissatisfying an individual in a workplace. So if you can figure out where you want to work, then you really get to lean into some of those questions around culture as well.
I can see where that would be really helpful to speak with someone that works there when it's not a job interview, because
Yes,
obviously a company always wants to present themselves in the best possible light. You may get some more real information from speaking with someone
absolutely.
just, in an informal setting. That's a good idea. These are all awesome. Anything that I missed that I didn't ask that you would like to make sure people consider?
I guess mostly just a last kind of wrap up on the idea of values at work.
Mhm.
We think of values as really big things, and of course they can be those. You know, what I always say is you're not likely to apply for a job at Marlboro if your grandmother died of lung cancer, but there are values that we can choose sometimes to ignore a little bit, and I think that never works in our favor. So as you're thinking about a career change, really be mindful of things like what you ideally want from a job and what is going to allow you to give the best version of yourself to your job. So remote work, for instance, or hybrid work, the level of autonomy you thrive in, the kinds of people you are at your best around, and what that looks like. For some people, heavy collaboration is a really important part of the job. And some people just want to be able to kind of go in and do their tasks and get them done and just kind of dust off their hands and feel good about it. So, think also about those benefits. I mentioned them earlier. Remembering that benefits can include things like your health insurance, but also can be things like your time off, your employer funded retirement plans, gym membership, transportation offsetting, if that's part of it.
Yeah.
If it's a hybrid or remote job, they should be able, for instance, to give you some technology. So think about just kind of all of those values and really spend some time thinking about what they are, because ideally, work is something that doesn't take so much out of you that you aren't able to do the rest of the stuff in your life.
Yeah, those are all great, very helpful.
Excellent. Well, then I now have some questions for you, Liz.
Okay.
So when a person is making a job switch, what do you think they should look for beyond a salary that affects the bottom line?
Oh, you hit on this just a moment ago, and that's benefits. And I have some more examples, I think, because benefits are a huge part of your compensation. So financially, benefits are important, not just short term's value of the company, but your bottom line. Those can add up to be thousands of dollars, and sometimes we just get really excited about a new job, or maybe even the salary is more. But you need to do an analysis of all of the benefits. You may wind up making less money if the benefits are not as good as they were at your former job. So some of those are, as you mentioned, health and other insurance. That can be life insurance or disability coverage. But job training and continuing education, maybe your company will pay for your professional certifications or licensure. I know for me, my licensure, my certification, all the continuing education courses I need to take in a year, that actually adds up to thousands of dollars. So having an employer that would pay for that, that's a huge benefit. So the most obvious though, that most people think of is the 401k. What people don't think of is it's not just the match, although that is real money that is part of your compensation. Don't leave it on the table. But even if the company doesn't offer a match, just having a 401k available to you is a significant financial benefit. You can save a lot more money in an employer-sponsored plan than you can in an IRA, and that's the IRS regulations. So there's no way around that. You may even not. You may price yourself out of being able to contribute to an IRA if your salary is too high. So yeah, if you make a nice, decent salary, according to the IRS, they will price you out of that. And if you don't have a 401k, you have no route to tax advantage savings. So that's something really, really important. I want people to not overlook.
That's awesome information. Thank you. So what do I need to know about any retirement accounts that I've had with previous employers? Do I need to move them right away? Do they just sit there? What do I do with those?
It's a great question. You don't have to make any decisions right away, although I do recommend looking at your options. Pretty soon after you start a new job, you can get really distracted. Obviously, you're starting a new job, and it can be really easy to forget about an old employer plan. I've seen people with 6 different plans with 6 different employers. So like, I know it's out there somewhere. So the important thing is you have a few options available to you. One is just leave it at your old employer. If you have less than $5,000, they can ask you to move that money. Yep, they have that right. Move that money does not mean that you have to take it out and pay penalties and fees and taxes. That just means you need to move it to a new custodian. They will let you know if they want you to do that. So leaving it in your former employer plan is one option. If you like that plan, you can roll it over into an IRA, or you can roll it into your new employer's plan if they have one available to you. So those are all good options. There's a lot of choice, like a lot of pros and cons to each of those choices. So some of the things to consider are the investment options available to you in your former employer's plan. They may be great, done, leave it there. But typically 401k plans don't offer a lot of investment options just because it's expensive for them. Every option they have costs them money, so they keep it pretty simple. So moving that to an IRA may be a better option for you, because then you have the entire world of investment options available to you. And that gets even more important the closer that you are to retirement. You don't have as much time to make up any losses. So yeah, typically the closer you are to retirement, you might more strongly consider moving that money to an IRA. What are some other things? Fees are really important to take a look at. And I don't just mean the account fee, it's 20, 50 bucks, but the cost of the investments. The mutual funds have a cost to buy and own them, and those are not usually obvious. It's not printed on your statement. They can be kind of hard to find, and they can be really significant. So that can be the biggest determination of if you should move it or not. I'm happy to help anyone, find out what those are or where they can find them themselves, because they're not obvious. Last
Yeah.
Like I knew there was one more. Having, we were joking about leaving plans all over. If it's a good plan, leave it there, but it can get really kind of out of hand. If you have several different plans at several different employers, you're probably not doing a great job of managing them and paying attention, and sometimes they get lost. Companies change providers or they move headquarters, and now you're trying to track down someplace that you worked 12 years ago because you know you have some money there. Most importantly, though, don't cash out your plan. Sometimes it seems like it's not that much money and you've got a little debt to pay off, but all of those add up and compounding over time, and the tax deferment benefits, it really, it's not a great idea to cash it out. So I think that is what I have today.
Sounds like good info. Anything else that you think is really important that people sometimes fail to consider in this career shift about their finances, of course?
Yeah, no, I think that what they fail to do is they just kind of look at, yeah, that looks good, without actually, taking a spreadsheet and doing the hard numbers. And I know that can be not everyone's jam, but calculating the financial benefit of each of those employer benefits will just make things a lot clearer, and a job that may seem amazing may turn out to be not as great as you think. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, I think we covered a lot of ground today.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you.
How can people find you if they would like you to help them with a career change?
Yeah, the easiest way is to go to my website, which is denvercareercatalyst.com, or to email me at emily@denvercareercatalyst.com.
Thank you. And if anyone is looking for my assistance, you can find me at my website, which is lizwindisch.com, LIZWINDISCH.com. And I think that covers it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Have a great 2022.
Yes, absolutely. To us all.